YouTube. Stuart the Stack 2000 Brooks here. And as you can see, I've been messing around with GM commands, but that's not my GM tune. I actually have a server now, and I'm planning on doing a Let's Play. Starting out with pretty much the basics. So, you'll notice a few things that are obvious, I guess, like the ambient plants and whatnot, but one thing to notice is I'm barefooted, which means I don't walk as fast. And, well, I do start with food, and I had to equip these, but I start with rags. I start with absolutely nothing else, just like any other survival sandbox. Now, in order to create anything, you're going to need supplies. I'm pretty sure I put a supply cache of 100 QL stuff near here, which I'm not going to touch until much later on when I show you what quality has a difference for. But for now, let's just look for materials. I chose one of the three races. The first one, which I believe is a Gotlung. Basically your standard European guys. Next race you can choose from is Slavard. Basically Vikings. And Kur. Basically your African savannah people. And they each have their own strengths and weaknesses, as well as skills they typically start out with. For example, the Kur usually are the best at range, having a higher having a higher starting agility, as well as minimum agility, and they have. Oh, I should probably turn off intellect because I've got all the skills on this server. But I'll talk about intellect and skills and skill caps later. But what was I saying? All right, and of course, the Slavards are melee oriented, focusing more on two-handed and axe wielding. The Gotlung are cavalry and militia based, basically, and are the only race that are locked into a combat style. Cavalry at 30. That aside, this game is pretty much freeform. Now, there's a couple tools you want to make first off the bat. That's because one of the first things you'll want to do is create a hut. They're not just for show. And they are both your respawn point once you claim them, and this handy little prayer for homecoming teleports you directly to it. Now, a hut is your first house, basically. Only holds one person, and pretty much does whatever, I mean, you can put things in it, you can do whatever the hell you want with it, basically, other than expand it. I want to find a decent spot. A rule of thumb. Set up 75 tiles or more away from clay. That's general game rules. Always remove your stumps once you cut down a tree because those cause lag. And because it's a PvE server I'm running, don't be a dick. There are actually servers that encourage that, but I tend to stay away from those, especially when trying to teach the basics of a game. Now, right, the tools you want to create are in the following order. Shovel. And you'll notice I looked for materials, got all the materials that I needed to craft these. You'll want a axe. Primitive. I'll get into more advanced materials once I have metal. And that is something you should work for immediately after getting a place to call your own. Primitive saw. I do not have enough materials for the saw, but I can easily look for more. Looking for anything automatically sets an area with what you're looking for and removes anything else you've been looking for. So I'm going to look for more materials. And I do believe my nature lore is at 30. Alright, cool. One thing you'll note Since hunting at 0, my animal lore is unobtainable. It's locked. But 30 isn't the best level to stay at. You'll need 60 in order to advance to the next level past 29. So, also one thing to note, melee weapons are useless unless you're on, well, I shouldn't say useless. I've used them quite effectively against passives when hunting, but pretty much useless on a PvE server. You want to stick with range. PvP, on the other hand, go for it. I may end up showing you PvP later in this series. Also, one of the things I like to do once I get my nature lore up to 30 is craft footwear. You need 30 to create certain... let me go back into paper doll and then the skills. Okay, so nature lore. You'll see this is all you can do with that 0 level. So I think there's also recipes involved. Yep, cooking recipes more specifically, and the bandage. Which I'm surprised isn't 30 because bandage is made from primitive cloth, simple cloth. So it kind of is hard locked behind 30 despite being available at 0. Unless you've got a friend who's giving you simple cloth. Anyway, back to building what I need to build. Right. Oh, it opens the crafting. Still don't have the flint. Right. I was going... Sorry there, I got sidetracked. Okay. Flint. Eee. Oh, you'll also notice that sometimes your skills stop at a tens digit number. Those are hard capped at that point. You can't gain experience past that level until you do another action because for some odd reason they like having even numbers. And yes, my other character is in fact called Dajiem McGame Master. Because that's literally what I've made him as. This character is not that character though. Okay. I'll show you that later. Okay, so primitive saw. We're going to need that. Word of advice: collect as much as you can, as many times as you can. Well, let's start out with. And I'll show you how to store that too. Don't build a bark box, which is the easiest thing to build. Not worth it, really. There are, well, I say easiest because it doesn't require any tools. It's actually not worth the effort to craft it. But we are missing one tool, and that is the hammer. The hammer of doom? No. Okay. I do not recommend cutting down anything. No. Right, I haven't talked to you guys about material quality yet. Or whoever's watching this. So, material quality. Big factor in durability and damage. Not that useful for certain items. But when you get into crafting items, also referred to as devices, it's going to be a big thing. First, I mean, you're not going to worry about it to start off the bat. Because you're getting started, you need tools more than you need quality. And you're going to need that hut. So I've got enough for the hammer, which I'm going to need too. Exactly enough. Okay. We have the primitive hammer, we've got the primitive axe, we've got the primitive shovel, and we've got the primitive saw. And I'm going to craft myself some footwear. That's my personal preference. because I don't like being slow, and the footwear just, works. Sometimes I also craft the hand wraps because I like the way they look. Okay, there we go. And we craft this into primitive boots. Keep in mind, my server is extremely high rates. Most servers won't be this high of a rate. Oh, excuse me. There we go. Shoes. Now let's find something to build somewhere to build a house and something to build a house with. So, rule of thumb, you want to be near stuff, but not too close to clay, because most servers are, they don't like people claiming clay resources, some of which even go as far as not to claim the main mountain, which contains most of the metal resources and other resources that are necessary, so try to keep that in mind. So I'm going to try to find a clay pit nearby, and I'm going to set up a marker exactly 75 squares away from it. That's the closest I can build a monument, which not really necessary at the moment, although I do recommend you get one going as fast as possible. Even on a PvE server, not everyone knows the rules. PvE rules are no griefing, no destroying a property, no killing of players, and no stealing. Some people don't, and some people just blatantly ignore the rules, thinking they can get away with whatever the hell they want. There are ways of protecting your items without the monument, but what I like to do is get started as soon as possible, just in case. I mean, most people I've come across have been okay with that and haven't stolen, but there are the bad eggs of every bunch. Let's zoom in. Oh. Okay, where am I? There's a clay pit right there. And I've learned what to look for. That dark streak is a clay pit. They are usually found near forests and beaches. So, to be honest, this beach area is actually a decent spot. It's close to the clay, but not too close. It's also close to trees and the mountain. So, what I'm going to do is hopefully ignore my cart, which is somewhere around here. Hopefully I don't run into it yet. But I'm probably going to run into my cart, which I put in as a GM on my GM character because I wanted to show quality. But, like I said, that's not your important priority right now. I'll just move too close to where the clay is, actually. Okay. Also, different races start with different foods. I should have mentioned that. I've only played Gotlung and Slavard, so I only know the fried salmon and the bread that you start with. So... okay. I'm going to press a button, standard default button for this is F3. This is the observation mode. Lets me know the exact levels because I'm going to want to have flat area to build. And it's a lot easier to flatten an area that's already pretty much flat, go figure, than it is to flatten an area that isn't flat. Also, this helps me measure the tiles away from the clay pit I'm going to. If you are even one tile too close, most server admins will just delete your stuff. Because it's assumed that you know what you're doing, or it's explicitly stated that you're not supposed to do this shit. Apologize for my language. Here is clay. That's unusual. Anyway. So, the closest tile of clay is here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, and so on and so forth until I forget how many, but yeah. So basically at this corner here. So this is a decent spot to build right about. Oh, I don't care. But yeah. This beach on this area is a decent place to build because it's far enough away from the play, but close enough to it that I can actually access it easily. So, let's dig. So you want to right click. I'm going to use shovel to flat ground. Nothing happened. Why? Well, you need to equip the shovel to actually do anything with it. Keep in mind, attacking with the shovel does nothing to the earth. So I'm going to equip my major tools. Oh, right. I have to manually equip them to put them on all the slots. Anyway, paper doll is open with P, inventory with I. And, okay. Now I've got all my tools equipped. Let's start leveling out an area. This area is pretty flat. Let's move to 62. Or 6.2, I should say. 6.2 meters above sea level. Now, the area I'm going to want for my hut is 4x4. So, it's actually not that bad a task. Now, I don't need to go into global, but I can go into system to show exactly what's going on here. Most servers, like I said, won't have nearly as high as rates as I do. So it's probably going to take you a lot longer to get your artisan up to 52. But it's okay for demonstration purposes. Or if you want to make your own server and be foobar at the end of it. Now, one thing to note, I will go into my skills right now. Strength, agility, constitution, intellect, and willpower are all useful in different ways. Intellect is only useful if you have a skill cap. I do not. This skill cap is actually the maximum skills in the group. You cannot get more than 3,000 skill points because there's not more than 3,000 skill points to gain. Similarly, my combat skills, 3,000. Not really going to need intellect to increase that. And minor skills, there's not even 3,000, so I don't really need intellect. Meaning I can be a dumbass and still effective. But say you're on a server that has a skill cap of 160. Yeah, that's a dick move, yeah, but it's going to force you to specialize and not get it. Well, I suppose 160 is a lowballing it, but there might be some servers. Though at that point you really can't get the mastery anyway. I think it's 180. No, that's only 3 skills. Anyway, skill caps exist. But not on every server. Okay, so back to terraforming. I've got 2x2. Let's increase that doubly. Now, certain terrain features I just don't like on cosmetic aspect, so there are ways to change that too. So, Now, I could do this all day breaking my shovel, or I could simply drop the dirt. So I'm going to actually... Oh, by the way, this button, repeat or infinite. I mean, single or infinite, repeat. So I'm just going to do this and drop the dirt. Which raises the level, but does not flatten anything. So I have... Oh, right. At first you won't have... You'll probably have build stone road as your default. Right clicking changes default, left clicking activates something. So I am going to set my default, as I've done before, to flat ground. Well, I can't make an infinite variant of that because of the way it works. It's a catch-all. Because flattening the ground is something you'll be doing a lot of. Just quite simple. To just left click all the time, spamming it to raise or lower ground to what you want it to, then making a slight accident and having to break a tool more. And because at least the primitive tools are so easy to come by, it doesn't matter whether or not they break at that rate. There will be metal tools that you don't want to break right away. Ugh. Wait a second. I've got QL88 soil somewhere. I'm going to have to... I was not expecting to come across that, so... I apologize. That is an important factor to note. So I'm pretty much screwing something up here in order to demonstrate early game things. So I'm going to have to... Where? Let's see. Was it this tile? Inspect. That's what you're going to do. Yeah, I'm going to mark this, guys. The way we mark things, simple. Create a camp, build a bark box, and rather than building it, you'll see something fun pop up. A construction site marker. In this case, X marks the spot for high quality soil. That is... I got lucky, guys. I mean, luck like that doesn't happen to me. So, I am not taking any chances when it comes to losing that. Because it could be 15,000 tiles before the next one. I don't actually think I'm joking there. So I may have to build out a bit more, but it's worth it. And I can just dump that because I'll be lowering that tile anyway. That was a good find. That's 3. Sorry, I keep alt-tabbing, trying to see what else is going on. Not with this game, but other things. Normally I'd be flipping over having this much high quality soil nearby. But I've got 88, oh god. Got 88 QL soil. 73. I've got a decent farm spot. I'll just have to build out this way. Okay. One of the things I like doing is plowing the ground before I build on it, or paving it before I build on it, if I've got the stone for it. The reason being I dislike grass poking through my floors. And the terrain does play a factor into the aesthetics. Also, I should mention, these bars aren't... What's going on with these bars? There are two types of HP and stamina. Soft hit points and hard hit points, soft stamina and hard stamina. If your hard hit points go to 0, you die. If your soft hit points go to 0, you get knocked out. Thing is, your hard hit points can never go above your soft hit points. I mean, the other way around. Soft hit points can never go above hard hit points. Stamina's a bit different. Hard stamina affects the rate your regular stamina recovers, and how much work you can actually do. It doesn't affect your total stamina, though. Your total soft stamina, that is. So, yeah, they're both important, but hard hit points is a bit more prevalent in many situations than hard stamina. Also harder to get back hard hit points because hard stamina can be gotten back by resting and making sure you have plenty of food on you. After I get that base going, I'll tell you guys how to get plenty of food. Oh. So, you may have noticed that this goes up. That's because my strength has gone up. Strength affects how well you do in melee combat, what weapons you can use, and how much you can carry. Much like other games. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is use my shovel to plow. The tiles I want to build on. And if it's still annoying me, tiles adjacent to that. I don't have to do this. I want to do this. Also, it increases my farming. There are a number of ways to increase your farming. Also, you're going to have to plow or raise ground in order to farm at all, so may as well learn how to do it. Keep in mind you need nature's lore at 50 to do that. I mean, not 50, 30. Oh. And I'm not going to be able to get it past 29. Keep in mind, some of these grass things are just remaining visual artifacts from the engine, not actually there. Okay, you shoulder the plow. Have I gotten this right? No, I need one more tile. Okay, so going to get some dirt from another area. Camera mode, change with C. Look mode is V. In case you're wondering. Okay. Get rid of the grass on a couple of tiles. Well, a tile, I believe. And let's build our shack. Build. Simple construction. Residential. Now there's two kinds of shacks you can build. Plaster or just regular one. Now I prefer plaster's aesthetic. And I'm going to rotate around to show you how this is oriented. Yeah, anyway. Build that there. Look in inventory. Build simple construction. Put in my plant fiber, which is useful. I need 20 of that. The clay and billets. First thing we know already is where to get clay. Where do you get billets from? Well, logs. Where do you get logs from? Trees. I don't want anything too high quality at this point. 8 is perfectly fine. Now, if I had a higher quality tree, I would have gathered branches and bark. Just a thing I do to increase my skills. The oak sprouts from an quality 8 tree are useless. If you're going for oak, The limit is 90 in forestry, meaning you'll probably want to go for 90 quality oak trees when you have the chance. So weed out the, awful stuff. Now you can't actually put logs in anything. You have to transport them yourself, etc., until much later on at 90 carpentry. But that's neither here nor there at this point. Drop object. Now, I'm going to see how much wood is in this. Okay, so I'm going to be 1 too short. Because I've got the billet from uprooting that, so... Oh yeah, that's right. Uprooting a tree also gives you a free billet. The irony is that the billet is several times better than the tree. Because the billet quality is based on the soil quality. That is highly ironic. To the point it's actually kind of funny. We'll probably need the other low quality oak in there, that area. Anyway, I'll be back after I finish building this.